prime Derrick Rose was definitely a force to be reckoned with, but sadly his prime was cut short due to getting injury after injury. So I've decided to take it back to the 2010-11 season and see how things would go if D Rose did not get injured. And so far on this team paired up with D Rose, we have ourselves players like Carlos Boozer, Joakim Noah, and Luol Deng. So we definitely do have pieces that can help us win going into the future. And in the process, I will also be rebuilding the Chicago Bulls to build a perfect team around Derrick Rose. That way hopefully we're able to win him a championship. To start out this first season, this is what the 9-man rotation will be looking like. So in our starting lineup, we have Derrick Rose, Ronnie Brewer, Luol Deng, Carlos Boozer, and Joakim Noah. And then off the bench, we have Taj Gibson, Kyle Korver, CJ Watson, and Keith Boggins. Let's go ahead and simulate the first few games of this season and see how we do. So the first game is up against the OKC Thunder. They have Russ, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. Let's see if we're able to defeat this team, and we do end up defeating them 113-108, and let's see how our team did. So Boozer had himself 33 points and 14 rebounds. D Rose dropped 31 points, 3 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals. And the next game of this season is up against the Detroit Pistons. Let's see if we can also defeat them, and we do end up defeating them 127-86. D Rose dropped 40 points and 4 assists. Luol Deng had 24, Boozer with 16. Can we also defeat the Portland Trail Blazers? Let's see, and we do end up defeating them by 30 points. Let's go. D Rose dropped 27 points and 11 assists. Deng had 18. Joakim Noah with 18 points and 18 rebounds. And also, I would really appreciate it if y'all could take a quick second out of your time to hit that thumbs up button and also subscribe if you're new. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers and it really does support out the video and channel a ton, so please hit that subscribe button. And as of right now, the overall system proficiency is at 3.5 stars defense under Stephen Carter. And the reason we're running on defense, if we change it to balance, as you guys can see, it goes down 3 stars. So as of right now, I will leave it on defense. Now I'm going to start simulating here until the trade deadline, where we most likely will be pulling off a trade that I have in mind. I'm stopped here at the trade deadline and I'm attempting to pull off a trade with the Orlando Magic, where we would send them Ronnie Brewer, Kyle Korver, and Kurt Thomas. In return, we get ourselves one of the best 3-point shooters in JJ Redick, who's shooting 42% from the 3-point line, and we also get Michael Pietrus, who's shooting 37%. Let's see what the Magic say for this trade. They do give us a counteroffer. I don't want to give them a first-round pick, but I will throw them some second-rounders. 1 second-round pick does not get it done. They give us a counteroffer. Let's go ahead and pull off this trade. I'm also going to be trading away CJ Watson, who this season is shooting 33% from the field, so we don't need him around to be our backup point guard. So I'm going to be sending him to the Toronto Raptors, where we get ourselves Jarrett Jack, who's averaging 13 points per game, as well as nearly 5 assists per game. Let's go ahead and pull off this trade. At the end of season number 1, LeBron James goes on to win MVP, DeMarcus Cousins Rookie of the Year, Manu Ginobili 6th Man of the Year, Dwight Howard Defensive Player, Markin wins Most Improved, our head coach Stephen Carter ends up winning Coach of the Year, and we also get Executive of the Year. We do get our boy Derrick Rose on All NBA First Team. Let's see if we have any more selections here, and it looks like we do not. We don't get anyone here on All Defensive Team either, which is kind of a surprise because Joakim Noah was playing amazing defensively, but that is alright because we ended this season being the number 1 seed, winning a total of 70 games and losing only 12. Before we start simulating the playoffs, let's take a look at the player stats in the regular season. So of course, the leading scorer on our team was Derrick Rose, who was averaging 29 points per game, 4 rebounds, 8 assists, shooting 57% from the field and 34% from the 3-point line. And then we had Luol Deng, who was averaging 20 points per game, 20 and 11 from Carlos Boozer, 12 from Jarrett Jack, 11 and 14 rebounds from Joakim Noah, as well as 2 blocks and 1 steal, which is why I was surprised he didn't make an all-defensive team. And now in the first round of the playoffs, we're taking on the New Jersey Nets, who have themselves Brook Lopez, Derek Favors, and Devin Harris. I don't think this team will be much of a challenge, but let's see what happens here. Game number 1, it does go to us. D-Rose with 16, Boozer with a double-double, Joakim Noah also with a double-double. We also end up winning game 2, and D-Rose dropped 34 points here, an amazing game from him. We also win game 3. This time it's Boozer leading the way with a 24-point double-double, D-Rose has 22, and we end up sweeping the New Jersey Nets to make it to the second round of the playoffs. And now this is where things will get challenging, and that's because we're taking on the big 3 of the Miami Heat, who have themselves LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh. Let's see what happens here. Game number 1 does end up going to us. Boozer with 29 points, whereas D-Rose, he only had himself 12 points. For some reason, he wasn't taking all that many shots. But at least we still got that win. Game number 2 will also go to us. D-Rose with 25, 24 from Luol Deng. Can we go up 3-0? And yes, we can. D-Rose dropped 32 points, Boozer with a 20-point double-double, and we do not sweep the Miami Heat. But we do end up gentlemen sweeping LeBron James and the Miami Heat. D-Rose dropped 34 points here in Game 5. And just like that, we're in the conference finals taking on the Boston Celtics. The Celtics also have themselves a pretty elite roster over here. They have Rajon Rondo, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and they also have Shaquille O'Neal coming off of their bench. Let's see what happens here in the conference finals. Game 1 will go to the Boston Celtics. They beat us here by 5 points. D-Rose had 29, 20 from Luol Deng, but sadly that was not enough. We do end up winning game 2 though. Let's go. Boozer with a 27-point double-double. D-Rose had himself 20 points. Can we also win game 3? And yes, we can. Luol Deng had 30 and 10. He's been playing amazing here in the playoffs. D-Rose had a 29-point double-double, 3 assists shy of a triple-double. JJ Redick with 20. Let's see if we can go up 3-1 against the Celtics, and we do end up going 3-1. Let's go. D-Rose drops 32 points here. Will we gentlemen sweep them? Yes, we will. D-Rose with 37 points, and just like that, we're in the NBA Finals. We're either going to be taking on Kobe Bryant and the Lakers, or KD, Russ, and Harden. Let's see which team it will be, and it will be Kobe Bryant and the Los Angeles Lakers. They also have themselves Lamar Odom and Pau Gasol. And with the Lakers, we do get ourselves a bit of a break, because the Los Angeles Lakers in this year are supposed to have themselves Andrew Bynum, but he's not in 2K, so that's why they don't have him on this roster. And I think to make things a little bit more challenging, I am going to insert him in this game right now. And there we go. I went ahead and inserted Andrew Bynum to the Los Angeles Lakers team. This way it's more fair and a little bit more challenging for us as well. Let's see how things go here in the NBA Finals. Game number 1 does end up going to the Lakers. D-Rose dropped 29 points, but they held us to 98 points here. Bynum had 13 points and 14 rebounds. Can we end up winning game 2? And no, we cannot. So they also end up holding us here to below 100 points. Boozer had 20, but it looks like Andrew Bynum on this team is really giving us trouble. And now we're down 2-0 here in the NBA Finals, but we do end up winning game 3, thankfully. Let's see how our team did here. So D-Rose had a 28-point double-double, Luol Deng with 23. We don't end up tying up the series. They go up 3-1. Are we going to get gentlemen swept? We do not get gentlemen swept. It looks like we are pushing them to a game 7. D-Rose with a 31-point double-double, Boozer with a 29-point double-double, and Noah also with a double-double. It's now time for game 7. Let's go ahead and jump in here to Simcast. We will have home court advantage on our side. And so far we do have the lead, and it looks like we will be winning ourselves a championship, winning game 7 by 22 points, where D-Rose dropped 26. And Boozer had himself 24. And D-Rose ends up winning Finals MVP, averaging 28 points, 4 rebounds, and 7 assists, shooting 62% from the field. Let me show you guys the player stats here in the playoffs, where we played a total of 21 games. The leading scorer was Derrick Rose, averaging 27, and then we had Boozer averaging 19, 16 from Deng, and 12 from Joakim Noah. In the NBA Finals, we played a total of 7 games, and Derrick Rose was averaging 28, 19 from Boozer, and 14 from Luol Deng. For the 2011 NBA Draft, we do have ourselves a 30th overall pick. Let's see which player we'll be able to draft. Charlotte Bobcats have the first overall pick, and they go ahead and take Kawhi Leonard. The Phoenix Suns have the second overall pick, and they take Isaiah Thomas. Let's see who the Wizards take, and they take Jonas Valanciunas, which is kind of a surprise because I'm pretty sure Klay Thompson is still on the board, and yes he is, so is Kyrie Irving. And honestly, this sucks. We're left with computer generated bots. Majority of these players are not even real NBA players, so let's go ahead and throw our 30th overall pick in Trade Finder and see what we could get back in return. So it looks like the Memphis Grizzlies are offering us their 2014 first round pick and a second rounder in return for the 30th overall pick and Greg Patterson. Let's go ahead and pull off this trade. In team player options, of course, we're going to pick up the team option on Derrick Rose, Taj Gibson. Michael Petrus picks up his player option. We don't need this dude here, but James Johnson, we don't need him either, so we're going to let both of these players walk. And hopefully we're able to sign some good players here in free agency. We do need to re-sign Joakim Noah, which is going to be a huge free agency signing for our team. And thankfully, we do have ourselves bird rights on Joakim Noah, so let's go ahead and offer him a 5-year contract, team option on the 5th year, which he most likely will accept, and yes, he will. So we get Joakim Noah on a 4-year, $48 million contract. And 2 more signings that I'm doing this offseason is signing this dude here who's an 81 overall. We're most likely going to sign and then trade him this offseason, and the other player is Brandon Rush. He is currently a 73 overall, but I have seen him jump up in overalls like crazy in 2K Simulation before, which is the only reason I'm signing him. I'm attempting to pull off a trade here with the Phoenix Suns that would land us J.R. Smith, who this past season was averaging 15 points per game, and we also get their 2012 unprotected first round pick, which is valued at 2.5 stars. We're offering them the 81 overall player we signed and Jarrett Jack. We probably will. Okay, they give us a counter offer, so it looks like they want Carlos and a second round pick in return for Goran Dragic. Let's go ahead and pull off this trade. And I feel like we just finessed the Phoenix Suns. We got J.R. Smith, Goran Dragic, who's a really good 3-point shooter, and a valuable first round pick. To start out the season, here is our brand new 9-man rotation. In our starting lineup, we have Derrick Rose, J.R. Smith, Luol Deng, Carlos Boozer, and Joakim Noah. And then off the bench, we have Goran Dragic, J.J. Redick, Taj Gibson, and Steve Novak. I was not expecting Dragic to be a part of our rotation, but bro has progressed so much this offseason. He's now up to an 82 overall, so he has to be a part of this rotation no matter what. So that means he's going to be the 6th man and backup point guard behind D. Rose. Let's simulate the first few games of this season and see how we do. The first game is up against the OKC Thunder, who we end up defeating 138-115. And D Rose had a 25-point double-double, Boozer had a 27-point double-double, Luol Deng with 17 and 14 from JJ Redick. The next game is up against the Indiana Pacers. Let's see if we can also defeat them. We do end up losing here sadly, 108-121. D Rose did play good, but our defense was not all there. Let's see if we can win one more game, which we do end up defeating the Utah Jazz 123-117. D Rose with 36, Joakim Noah with 22 and 11, Boozer with 15, J.R. Smith had 10 points, and so far J.R. Smith is playing awful. But hopefully he turns things around. And this season I do believe we could win D Rose a MVP. Hopefully that is the case. Goran Dragic is ready to sign a contract extension with our team, so I'm going to go ahead and extend him for the next 4 seasons. I'm going to try lowering this down to about $6 million annually, and he accepts. And at the end of this season, our boy Derrick Rose goes on to win his first ever MVP, averaging 29 points per game, 5 rebounds and 9 assists, as well as 1 steal and 1 block on 50%, 56% from the field, and 38% from the 3-point line. Isaiah Thomas wins Rookie of the Year, Chris Cummins wins Sixth Man, Dwight Howard Defensive Player, Blake Griffin Most Improved, Don Nelson, our head coach, wins Coach of the Year. We also end up winning Executive of the Year. And of course, the MVP does make it on All NBA First Team. Let's see if we have any more selections here, and it looks like we do not. We don't get anyone here on All Defensive Team either, but that is alright because we set ourselves a new record of most wins by a team in a regular season, with 77 wins and only 5 losses. The last record was held by the MJ-led Chicago Bulls, but it looks like the D-Rose-led Chicago Bulls have beat that record by many games. Before we start simulating here in the playoffs, let's take a look at the player stats. So the leading scorer on our team was D-Rose, averaging 29 points per game, and then we had Luol Deng, who had himself an amazing season, averaging 21 points per game, shooting 45% from the three-point line. 17 from J.R. Smith, 16 from Boozer, 11 from Noah, 11 from Dragic, and 11 from J.J. Redick. And now in the first round of the playoffs, we will be taking on the Milwaukee Bucks, who have Brendan Jennings, Vince Carter, and Andrew Bogut. Let's see how things go here in the playoffs. Game number 1 does end up going to us. D-Rose drops 41 points. We also win game 2, we win game 3, and we do not sweep the Bucks, but we do end up gentlemen sweeping the Bucks. And so far, D-Rose is averaging 34 points per game, as well as 10 assists per game. And now in the second round of the playoffs, we're taking on the Atlanta Hawks, who have themselves Al Horford, Josh Smith, and Joe Johnson. Game number 1 will go to us. We win game 2, we win game 3, and we sweep the Hawks, making it to the conference finals where we're taking on the Boston Celtics once again. And it looks like the Celtics haven't changed their roster. They still have Rondo, Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett. D-Rose so far here in the playoffs is averaging a 34-point double-double. Let's go. Game number 1 against the Celtics, we end up winning. Boozer leads the way with a 23-point double-double. We win game 2, we win game 3, and we sweep the Boston Celtics. Looks like we're either going to be taking on the OKC Thunder or the San Antonio Spurs, and it will be the OKC Thunder. And this team is definitely going to be a challenge for us. They have themselves Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Zach Randolph, as well as Serge Ibaka as their starting center. I'm not sure how they acquired Zach Randolph or even how they have enough money to sign him in free agency, but somehow they did. Let's see how things go here. Game number 1 will go to the Thunder. They defeat us here by 4 points. We do end up winning game 2. They win game 3 here by 14 points. KD, Russ, and Harden are just too good of a team to defeat. Can we top the series? And yes, we can. Looks like they win game 5, but we got to tie it up once again to push it to game 7. Let's see if we can do that. And so far we are losing, and it looks like we will end up being eliminated. The OKC Thunder defeat us by nearly 30 points. D-Rose played amazing. Well, not really. He did shoot only 7 of 20 from the field. And sadly, we do make it to the NBA Finals, but fall short to the OKC Thunder with Russell Westbrook winning Finals MVP. And now it's time for the NBA Draft, and we have the second best odds at getting ourselves the first overall pick. Good thing we traded with the Phoenix Suns and acquired their pick, as well as J.R. Smith. Let's see where we end up. Let's start going at this slowly. The 14th spot goes to the Portland Trail Blazers, and you know what? Let's just go ahead and skip right through this. And we end up with, where is our pick? So we end up with the 3rd overall pick via the Phoenix Suns. I'll take it. Somehow the Timberwolves end up with the 1st overall pick and the 2nd. And in this draft class, we have ourselves Anthony Davis. I think I'm going to try and trade for the 1st overall pick. That way we could draft AD to pair up with D-Rose. And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. So I'm attempting to pull off a trade here with the Minnesota Timberwolves that will get us the 1st overall pick. That way we could draft Anthony Davis to be the brand new starting power forward. And if we draft Anthony Davis, we'll no longer need Carlos Boozer, so might as well use him in this trade. Plus, he's 30 years old, he's only going to continue regressing. And from the previous season, he's already regressed. From 20 points and 11 rebounds, he was averaging 15 and 8. So So let's see what the Timberwolves say for this trade, and they accept, and now we're going to be drafting ourselves Anthony Davis. You guys might think we gave up a lot for that first overall pick, but don't forget, we're drafting ourselves to Anthony Davis. We know how good of a player he ends up becoming in the future. We know the future, so we're able to draft ourselves a player knowing that he's going to be one of the best big men in the league. Let's go ahead and draft AD to be our brand new starting power forward. When it comes to the 30th overall pick, there's not many good players left on the board. They're all computer generated players, so I'm going to be trading this pick away to the Los Angeles Clippers, where we get ourselves 2 future first rounders. They are top 3 protected, but that's alright. For team player options, I am going to pick up the team option on Taj Gibson. He has been a pretty good backup center, but I may look on moving him this off season, depending on the trade offers. Qualifying offers, we do need to re-sign Derrick Rose. That's going to be a huge re-signing for us, but thankfully we do have bird rights on him, and he's a restricted free agent, which means he's not going anywhere. Let's go ahead and offer him a 5-year deal. Player option on the 5th year. We'll up this up to $16 million annually, and he will be accepting on a 4-year, $71 million contract. I just pulled off a trade for a new backup center, getting ourselves Greg Oden from the Portland Trail Blazers, and I've sent them Taj Gibson, a 1st round pick, a 2nd round pick, and Danny Green, who has signed in free agency. And here we are at the start of this season with our brand new 9-man rotation. We're looking even more unstoppable than we were last season. In the starting lineup, we have Derrick Rose, J.R. Smith, Luol Deng, Anthony Davis, and Joakim Noah. And then off the bench, we have Greg Oden, Goran Dragic, J.J. Redick, and Steve Novak. It does look like the OKC Thunder will be our rivals throughout this video, so hopefully our team is better than theirs now. If it's not at this moment, it definitely will be once Anthony Davis progresses this coming off season. Let's see how we do here in the first few games of this season. The first game is up against the Brooklyn Nets. We end up defeating 120-112. Luol Deng dropped 37 points, D Rose with 18, and AD in his NBA debut dropped 14 points, 9 rebounds, as well as 3 blocks and 1 steal. Let's see if we're also able to win the next 2 games. The next game is up against the Portland Trail Blazers. We defeat them 115-105. D Rose with 34, Deng with 20, and AD with 14. We also end up defeating the Detroit Pistons 135-99. D Rose with a 36-point double-double, and AD had himself 20. J.J. Redick wants to sign a contract extension with our team, so I'm going to extend him for the next 2 seasons, paying him $2 million annually. I also extended Luol Deng on a 1-year contract extension, paying him about $8 million, I believe. Yeah, so $8 million in the 2014 season. And at the end of this season, our boy D Rose goes on to win a back-to-back MVP, this time averaging 30 points per game, 5 rebounds, and nearly 10 assists on 57, 43, 85 shooting splits. He's only continuing to get better and better. This season, he was nearly averaging a 30-point double-double. And it looks like our boy Anthony Davis also goes on to win Rookie of the Year, averaging 17 points, 9 rebounds, 2.5 assists, as well as 2.5 blocks and 1 steal per game. Let's go. Boozer wins 6th Man of the Year, DeAndre Jordan, Defensive Player, Bobby Miller, Most Improved, Don Nelson, our head coach, wins Coach of the Year, and we also end up winning Executive of the Year. And of course, we do get our MVP on All NBA First Team. Let's see if we have any more selections, and it looks like we do not. And somehow, okay, there we go. We do get ourselves Anthony Davis on All Defensive Second Team and on All Rookie First Team. We ended this season being the number 1 seed, winning a total of 78 games and losing only 4. We've been unstoppable this season, and Anthony Davis is only in his rookie season. Imagine how things are going to look once he progresses this off season. Now, before we start simulating the playoffs, let me show you guys what the player stats were looking like in the regular season. And our leading scorer, of course, was our boy D Rose, averaging 30 points per game. Then we had Luol Deng, who's averaging 21 and 5. He's been playing amazing here for us these last few seasons. 50, 40, 70 shooting splits. 17 from AD, 15 from J.R. Smith, 10 from Dragic, and 10 from Greg Oden. Now in the first round of the playoffs, we're going to be taking on the Brooklyn Nets, who have themselves Brook Lopez, Devin Harris, Mike Bridges, and Derrick Favors. They were a play-in team. Well, actually around this time there was no play-in, so they were just a number 8 seed. Let's see how things go here. Game number 1 will go to us. D Rose with 32, Deng with 20, and Joakim Noah dropping 15 points. We also end up winning game 2, we win game 3, and we sweep the Brooklyn Nets to make it to the second round. So far, D Rose is averaging nearly 30 points per game, as well as 8.5 assists on 60, 40, 80 shooting splits. Now in the second round of the playoffs, we're going to be taking on the Atlanta Hawks, who have themselves Joe Johnson, Al Horford, and Josh Smith. Josh Smith was a really good defender in rebuild before I've got him, and he was absolutely amazing. Let's see how things go here in the second round. Game 1 will go to us. D Rose 26. We had ourselves 4 players who had 20 points or more. Almost 5. Can we also win game 2? Yes, we can. We win game 3 and we sweep the Atlanta Hawks. Now we're in the conference finals, taking on the Washington Wizards, who have John Wall, Nick Young, Jonas Valanciunas, and Andre, as well as a 78 overall Gilbert Arenas. And it looks like if we do make the NBA Finals, we're probably going to have to take on the OKC Thunder once again, the same team that defeated us last year. But let's see what happens here in the Eastern Conference Finals. Game 1 will go to us. Luol Deng leads the way here, dropping 41 points. We also end up winning game 2, we win game 3, and we sweep the Washington Wizards. Kobe Bryant and the Lakers are up 2-1 against the OKC Thunder. And it will be the OKC Thunder winning in Game 6, which means we're going to have to take them on. And of course, they've only gotten better from this past season. As you guys can see, James Harden is now up to a 95 overall, so is Russell Westbrook, and KD sitting at a 98 overall. They have one of the most unstoppable big threes. Their big three is better than ours. We're still waiting for Anthony Davis to progress, but until then, their team is definitely looking a lot better than we are. And throughout this entire video, I believe the OKC Thunder will be our rivals, but let's see what happens here. Game 1 will go to us. Let's go. D Rose drops 46 points, 25 from AD, and 20 from Luol Deng. We do end up losing game 2 here, sadly. D Rose dropped 25, but we end up falling short. They held us to 98 points. I've decided to change up some shot tendencies for our team. Let's see if we can win this next game and go up 2-1. And so far we do have the lead here by quite a bit, and it looks like we do end up winning this game by 24 points, and Luol Deng had 28 points, D Rose with a 25-point double-double. We are up 2-1. Let's see if we can make this 3-1. The Thunder will have home court advantage once again. And it looks like they will be defeating us here 133-109. D Rose played great, but our defense was pretty horrible, allowing them to score 133 points. I've decided to come up with a defensive coach game plan. Let's see if that's going to help us win this next game. We will have home court advantage for game 5, and so far in the first half we do have the lead, but of course they take it back and now they're up by 23 points, and we do end up losing 118-95. D Rose had 20, AD with 18, but once again our defense was nowhere to be seen. And the OKC Thunder may really just be defeating us here in the NBA Finals for the second year in a row. I hope that's not the case, but let's see what happens here. Hopefully we're able to tie up the series. And it looks like we are up by 4, 6:50 remaining. Can we keep this lead? And yes, we do. We end up winning by 1 single point, where D Rose had a 36-point double-double, Luol Deng with 22. Now it's going to game 7, and thankfully we do have home court advantage on our side. Let's see if we can win ourselves a championship, and it looks like we will be winning 136-114. Luol Deng dropped 37, D Rose with a 31-point double-double, and just like that, we won the Chicago Bulls another championship, with Derrick Rose winning Finals MVP, averaging 30 points per game on 50, 50, 90 shooting splits. I honestly thought we would have been losing this series to the OKC Thunder, but that just means we're doing a lot better than we were the previous season. In the 19 games we played here in the playoffs, here are the player stats. D Rose was our leading scorer, averaging 29 points per game, 23 from Luol Deng, 16 from AD, and 14 from J.R. Smith. In the NBA Finals, where we played a total of 7 games, D Rose was averaging 30, 22 from Luol Deng, 16 from AD, 12 from J.R. Smith, and 11 from Dragic. I don't want this video to be longer than it has to, so what I'm going to start doing is simulating past the off seasons, pulling off whatever trades or changes I need to make to this roster, and then I'll update you guys at the start of each up and coming season. Here we are at the start of this season. I did pull off a pretty big trade for our team, which is trading away Joakim Noah. In return, we got ourselves Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol did end up winning Defensive Player of the Year around this time, plus he can space the floor and hit 3-pointers, which we need shooters around both Anthony Davis and Derrick Rose in my opinion. So this is going to be the 9-man rotation. In our starting lineup, we have Derrick Rose, J.R. Smith, Luol Deng, Anthony Davis, and Marc Gasol. Then off the bench, we have Goran Dragic, Greg Oden, Brendan Rush, and Markieff Morris. And in that trade, we also did trade away JJ Redick, which I didn't mind because this season I was going to be playing Brendan Rush over him anyways. Brendan Rush is a way better defender than JJ Redick, plus he but he still is a good 3-point shooter. Let's simulate the first few games of this season and see how we do. The first game is up against the New York Knicks and we end up defeating them 139-98. And D Rose had a 28-point double-double, Anthony Davis with 23, Luol Deng with 19, and Marc Gasol in his Chicago Bulls debut dropped 19 points, 9 rebounds, hitting 3 3-pointers. A big reason to why I brought in Marc Gasol is his 3-point shooting ability. Anthony Davis is our starting power forward, not center, and AD isn't really a good 3-point shooter, so that's why having a floor-spacing big man is so important. The next game is up against Minnesota Timberwolves. We also defeat them 135-106, D Rose with 35, 21 from Dragic, and 20 from Luol Deng. This season, we will be rolling with a 4-star overall system proficiency, perimeter-centric under Don Nelson. Now I'm going to start simulating here until the end of this season, but if there's any trades to be made, of course, I'll stop at the trade deadline and show y'all. I'm stopped here at the trade deadline and I'm attempting to pull off a massive trade with the Golden State Warriors that would land us Klay Thompson, who's averaging 22 points per game, shooting 41% from the 3-point line. I'm offering the Warriors J.R. Smith, Robert Covington, and four first-round picks. Let's see what they say, and they accept the trade. We get ourselves Klay Thompson to be the brand new starting shooting guard. And if I'm being honest, I was not expecting the Warriors to accept the trade and send us Klay Thompson, but it looks like we have ourselves a new big 3 of Derrick Rose, Klay Thompson, and Anthony Davis. And the reason I felt like we needed a new star on this team is the OKC Thunder have still been defeating us here in the regular season, and their big 3 is only getting better and better. Russ is a 96 overall, Harden's a 97, and Kevin Durant's a 98, so we definitely need some pieces to compete with this team. Greg Oden wants to sign a contract extension with our team, so I'm going to go ahead and extend him for the next 2 seasons, paying him $4.25 million annually, and he accepts the contract. There's 1 game remaining of this season, and we have 2 players in the word races to winning MVP. We have Derrick Rose and Anthony Davis. Let's see which one of the 2 will end up winning, and it goes to Derrick Rose once again, winning his 3rd MVP in a row, this time averaging a career high 30 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 10 assists on 57% from the field and 39% from the 3-point line. Rudy Gobert goes on to win Rookie of the Year, Monte Ellis 6-man, Dwight Howard Defensive Player, Damian Lillard Most Improved, Don Nelson, our coach, wins Coach of the Year, and the OKC Thunder win Executive of the Year. We do get the MVP on All NBA First Team. We also get Anthony Davis on All NBA Second Team. Let's go. And we do get Anthony Davis on All Defensive First Team as well, and that will be it for awards. We ended this season being the number 1 seed, winning a total of 74 games and losing only 8. Before we start simulating the playoffs, let's take a look at the player stats in the regular season. So of course, the leading scorer on our team was Derrick Rose, averaging 30 points per game as well as 10 assists, and then we had Klay Thompson, who was averaging 21 points per game, shooting 43% from the 3-point line. 21 points per game from AD, as well as 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 2.5 blocks, and 1 steal. 17 from Deng, 12 from Gasol, 11 from Dragic, and 10 from Greg Oden. Now in the first round of the playoffs, we're going to be taking on the Washington Wizards, who have themselves John Wall, Nick Young, and Jonas Valanciunas. Let's see how things go here. Game number 1 will go to us, and it's Klay Thompson leading the way, dropping 27 points, 25 from D Rose, 24 and 18 from AD. We do end up losing game 2 to the Washington Wizards. We win game 3, we win game 4, and we do not gentleman sweep them. Okay, so they are pushing back, but we defeat them in game 6, now making it to the second round. And so far, D Rose is averaging 23 points per game. He's not scoring as much, but his efficiency is still amazing. Now in the second round, we're taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have themselves Jeremy Lin, Corey, and Draymond Green, as well as DeAndre Jordan. It looks like they do have Monte Ellis coming off of their bench. Game number 1 will go to us, D Rose with 34, AD with 16 points and 15 rebounds. We also win game number 2, we win game 3, and we sweep the Cleveland Cavaliers, once again making it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Now in the conference finals, we're going to be taking on the Charlotte Bobcats, who have themselves Tyrese Thompson, Noel, and Kawhi Leonard. Game number 1 will go to us. Let's go. D Rose with 36, 24 from Deng, and Marc Gasol with 20 points and 15 rebounds. It's playing pretty amazing here in the playoffs so far on 50-40 shooting splits. Game number 2 will also go to us. We win game 3, and we sweep the Charlotte Bobcats, once again making it to the NBA Finals. It looks like we're probably going to have to take on the OKC Thunder once again. That's exactly what will happen. This time around, Russell Westbrook's a 96 overall, Harden's a 97, and KD is a 98. The only reason this team became so overpowered is somehow they ended up with Zach Randolph. Because if they had Jeff Green as their starting power forward, that would have nerfed them a little bit, but now they're unstoppable. Well, we're the only team that's been able to stop them so far. Hopefully we can do that once again. Game number 1 does end up going to us. Let's go. AD drops 22 points. We only won that game by 1 point. We also end up winning game 2. D Rose with 31 points and 14 assists. Deng with 25, 23 from Klay, and 22 from Anthony Davis. We win game 3. Are we going to sweep the OKC Thunder? We do not sweep them, but we do end up gentlemen sweeping them to win D Rose and the Chicago Bulls another championship, and this time finals MVP goes to Klay Thompson, who is averaging 22 points per game. I will be running it back one last season, but let's take a look at the playoff stats before we advance. So we played a total of 19 games. In those 19 games, D Rose was averaging 25, 21 from Luol Deng, 21 from Klay Thompson, and 19 from Anthony Davis. And in the NBA Finals, we had Klay Thompson, who was a leading scorer, averaging 22 points per game, 22 from D Rose, and 22 from Anthony Davis. I'm not sure why Derrick Rose wasn't taking as many shots here in the playoffs. I do believe it's because we have a lot of offensive players on this team now, and because of that, he's not able to take as many shots as he was taking prior. Marc Gasol did not sign a contract extension with our team in the regular season, but as you guys can see, we're able to negotiate a contract with him now. I'm not sure how that's possible, but I will go ahead and extend him for the next 4 seasons. That way he remains on our team going forward. I'm going to give a quick rundown of what I did this offseason. There was only one trade that I pulled off, and that was acquiring ourselves Al Horford, who's a 90 overall. Another player that could space the floor, also a really great defender, and now we have 4 players 90 overall or higher in our starting lineup. We one-upped the OKC Thunder, brought in an extra 90 overall player. Anthony Davis progressed this offseason, so did Klay Thompson. Now our starting lineup will be D Rose, Klay Thompson, Luol Deng, AD, and Horford. Our bench unit is Greg Oden, Dragic, Brandon Rush, and Markieff Morris. We have one game remaining of this season, and in the award races to winning MVP, we have ourselves Anthony Davis and Derrick Rose, which means one player from our team will be winning the MVP. Let's see which one of the two will end up winning. And it goes to Anthony Davis, who ends up winning his first ever MVP, averaging 26 points per game, 12 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steal, shooting 63% from the field. He had himself an amazing season here. Nikola Jokic goes on to win Rookie of the Year. Sixth Man of the Year goes to Amari Stoudemire. Defensive Player Tyrese Thomas. Michael Carter-Williams, Most Improved. Don Nelson, Coach. And we also end up winning Executive of the Year. Of course, we get both Derrick Rose and Anthony Davis on all NBA First Team. Let's see if we have any more selections. We do get AD on all Defensive First Team, and that will be it for awards. We ended this season being the #1 seed, winning a total of 75 games and losing only 7. Here are the player stats for the regular season. Our leading scorer was Derrick Rose, averaging 26 points per game, and then we had AD averaging a 26-point double-double, Klay Thompson with 20, and 14 from Luol Deng. Now in the first round of the playoffs, we're going to be taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have Jeremy Lin, Monte Ellis, Draymond Green, and DeAndre Jordan. Game number 1 will go to us. D Rose with 41 points and 12 assists. AD had 14 points, 13 rebounds, 5 blocks, and 3 steals. Game number 2 also ends up going to us. We win game 3, and we do not sweep the Cavs, but we do end up gentlemen sweeping them and advancing to the second round of the playoffs. And now in the second round of the playoffs, we're taking on the Atlanta Hawks, who have Kyle Lowry, Joe Johnson, Doug McDermott, Josh Smith, and Marc Gasol, who we traded over to them. And this season, he was shooting 40% from the 3-point line. Al Horford played really good for us as well. He was averaging 13 points per game, 9 rebounds, 4 assists on 50-40-80 shooting splits. And here in the playoffs so far, he's shooting 63% from the 3-point line. Let's see how D Rose is doing so far in the playoffs, and he's averaging 35 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 11 assists so far, and AD is averaging 26, 13, and 3. How's Klay Thompson doing? He is only scoring 14 points per game, but his shooting splits are still pretty good, other than the free throw line. Let's see how we do here in the second round. Game 1 will go to the Atlanta Hawks. They defeat us here by 3 points. And my controller just died, so give me 1 second. Alright, so we are down 1-0, but can we tie up this series? Yes, we can. D Rose with 29, AD with 23 and 14. We also win game 3, we win game 4, and we gentlemen sweep the Atlanta Hawks, making it to the conference finals, where we're taking on the Washington Wizards, who still have the same team: John Wall, Nick Young, and Jonas Valanciunas. I don't think they're going to be much of a challenge. Game 1 goes to us, game 2 also goes to us. We're up 3-0, and we sweep the Washington Wizards. And before we advance to the NBA Finals, I would like to give a huge shout out to my boy A.R. Hill. The Chicago Bulls are his favorite team, so a huge shout out to you, A.R. Hill. And now it looks like we're either going to be taking on the OKC Thunder or the Golden State Warriors. So let's see which team it will be, and of course, it's the OKC Thunder, who still have Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Zach Randolph, and Serge Ibaka. And it does look like Kevin Durant has gone down in overall, and the same for Russell Westbrook, because last season I believe KD was a 98 and Russ was a 96, so James Harden is now their highest overall player. Game number 1 will go to us. D Rose with 39 points, 11 assists, and Anthony Davis with a 25-point triple-double. Let's go. Game number 2 will also end up going to us. AD with 29 and 11. D Rose with a double-double. Klay Thompson with 21. Can we go up 3-0? No, we cannot. They do defeat us here in game 3. And of course, they tie up the series. I am going to come up with the defensive coach game plan, and then we'll advance to the next game. come up with the defensive coach game plan. Let's see if that's going to help us win this next game. We will have home court advantage on our side, and we do start off the first half really strong, and we end up winning 139-104. D Rose with 31, AD with 22, and Klay Thompson with 20. The same for Luol Deng. All we gotta do is win one more game, and that will mean we've won, I believe, 3 championships in a row if I'm not mistaken. Either 2 or 3. I will double check that here in a second. It looks like we will end up winning ourselves another championship. D Rose dropped 30 points, 80 with 23, 22 from Luol Deng, and 20 from Klay Thompson. And just like that, we've won D Rose and the Chicago Bulls another championship, with Anthony Davis winning Finals MVP, averaging 23, 12, and 5, as well as 4 blocks per game and 1 steal. So it does look like we've completed a three-peat. That was our 3rd championship in a row for Derrick Rose. We're ending off this video winning him a total of 4 championships. Let's take a look at the player stats here in the playoffs. Before I end out this video, we played a total of 20 games in the playoffs, and Prime D Rose was averaging 29 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 10 assists. 24 and 13 from AD, 20 from Klay Thompson, and 17 from Luol Deng. And in the NBA Finals, where we played a total of 6 games, Derrick Rose was averaging 27, 23 and 12 from AD, 19 from Klay Thompson, and 17 from Luol Deng. So it's pretty fair to say if Derrick Rose did not get injured, he would most likely have been dominating the NBA for a very long time. In my opinion, it would have been the Chicago Bulls always going up against the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals, or going up against LeBron James, one or the other. But that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to hit that thumbs up button and also subscribe if you're new. It really does support out my channel a ton, so please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new. And also click here on the screen to watch my latest upload. Until next time, it's your boy Dragon, and I'm out. Peace.